Tanks are all about big bad machines that can demolish the target in no time. But it's not always about being big and bad. Sometimes a tiny piece of equipment can do things that a big thing can't. And today we're going to celebrate these small things. Today we'll be talking about mini military tanks. And do you want to know which tank holds the world record of being the smallest? Wait till the end to find out. Welcome to the Military Future, where we talk all about the military. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to receive notifications. First, there is Rheinmetall Weasel 1. The ability of the Germans to concentrate air units close to the action during the Cold War was crucial. However, it wasn't enough to just drop the paratroopers. They needed to be covered from some of the guns and carry at least some anti-tank weapons. The idea for those Rheinmetall AG Weasel 1 thus came into being. The target was initially intended to be small enough to be transported by cargo planes, but later they hoped to be able to use helicopters to transport it. It was created by Porsche in the middle of the 1980s. It had a simple design with a 20mm autocannon and a two-person crew, a driver and the gunner, who served as the commander. It was propelled by a 2-liter, 5-cylinder VW turbo diesel engine with 85 horsepower. It can travel at a top speed of 65 km per hour off-road and 80 km per hour on roadways. It can go where other things can't because of its little weight. Although it's not amphibious, it can easily cross 50 centimeters of water without assistance. Later versions have towed anti-tank missiles, which are more powerful and require a 3-person crew to operate. Weasel, which translates to weasel in English, is the name given to it because of its maneuverability and capacity to approach adversaries fast and stealthily. On battlefields with light vegetation, it works perfectly. Production on the Rheinmetall AG Weasel 1 stopped in 1993. The new Weasel 2 with greater size, more power, and more adaptable equipment, including radar, anti-aircraft missile launcher, command, and medical variations, then appeared. At this time, several armaments were installed on this platform. Next, we have the M22 Locust. Some weapons are unable to perform as intended. A successful war machine is the exact opposite of this weapon. The American government created it at the British War Office's request to provide light airborne tanks to the UK that can be transported by the available aircraft. The Mk7 Tetrarch light tank was the first choice of the British for this kind of mission, but they concluded it would be best to construct a brand new special-purpose tank. After the prototype underwent various modifications, it was produced in sizable quantities in 1943 and 1944, and the production ended in 1945. The office was certain that the tank would function on the battlefield despite the war's many flaws, and 260 of them were transported. For this reason, the tank was given the nickname Locust. The War Department was compelled to remove the Locust in favor of the Tetrarchs due to the ship's numerous mechanical issues. During Operation Varsity in March 1945, they were only utilized in one World War II engagement. Only 2 of the 8 used tanks reached the hit point before being damaged by discharge or enemy fire. They attracted artillery fire while massing on high terrain with soldiers surrounding them, leading to significant infantry casualties. As a result, Locust was decommissioned and condemned. Next, we have the Tankettes. It is a collection of tanks that were produced between the 2 world wars, some of which participated in World War II engagements. The majority of the weaponry employed during the battle could penetrate their light armor. With a few notable exceptions, including the German Rheinmetall AG Weasel, the idea was eventually dropped. When Allied tanks were breaching German lines during World War I, the infantry was unable to hold the position, so the tanks were used. Artillery fire was also delayed, and when the reinforcements filled the void, they destroyed the enemy tanks that had managed to get through. So the tank appeared to be a wise choice. The 2 or 3 man tanks were then the most effective. Their primary armament was a machine gun with occasionally a 20mm autocannon or a grenade launcher. They lacked turrets and tank guns. Gifford Eli Quesnimortal, who was making one in his garage and displaying it to the War Office, had the first concept for a one-man tank. Following the release of numerous more prototypes, the 2-man Lloyd tank, considered the most successful, became a reality. The Italian Royal Army was one of these tiny tanks' devoted users. They produced numerous L333 and L335 models and outfitted 3 divisions with them. They were employed everywhere the Italians fought. Even during the Spanish Civil War's invasion of Ethiopia, the Tankettes were deployed as tank scouts by the French. Next is the FV-191 Scorpion. The Scorpion was a challenging opponent to strike. The ability to travel through the field pretty fast made up for the lack of armor. The British Army's primary concern when ordering this vehicle was that it could be flown. They had to mount aluminum alloy armor after dismounting all heavy armor. There were only detachable steel panels protecting the engine and gearbox. A well-joined hole in the turret, increased crew protection, and the ability to withstand 14.5mm rounds at 200 meters at the front position of the power plant. In all other cases, protection was only provided against 7.62mm and artillery shell fragments. The Scorpion had a crew of 3, including the commander and gunner, and measured roughly 8 tons, 5.3 meters long, 2.13 meters wide, and 2.1 meters high. A rifled 76.2mm cannon and a 7.62mm gun make up the armament. Additionally, the gun's elevation rate ranges from 10 to plus 35 degrees. In 1973, it was sent into service with the Royal Army, and it was withdrawn in 1994. It was exported to many forces, and they still use it. The fact that a commercial car engine powered this vehicle was fantastic. The 4.2 Jaguar gasoline engine, which has 265 horsepower, was reduced to 195 horsepower to increase engine longevity. Later, a Perkins diesel engine was installed in its place, which was far more cost-effective. The Scorpion can be given a flotation kit and modified into a track-powered amphibious vehicle. Next, there is Themis UGV. This piece of military equipment makes us think that the Star Wars period is just around the corner. UGV is an acronym for an unmanned ground vehicle. It was created and produced by Estonia's Merlem Robotics. Because of its modular construction, it can be ordered in many types for various uses. It can be used for EOD, warfare, ISR, observation, and freight. At the moment, it is employed. Used by 11 armies, including Germany, Estonia, France, the Netherlands, Norway, the UK, and the US, 7 of which are NATO members. It has various benefits, including a distinctively low center of gravity that enables it to climb at a 60% uphill gradient and ride with a maximum 30% body roll. It is capable of operating in any weather, day or night, thanks to its several cutting-edge sensors and numerous sighting cameras. Its goal is to assist the infantry by transporting ammunition supplies or injured soldiers to a higher level of care without involving the life forces. This kind of vehicle combination can change the war arsenal. They can be made into an effective anti-tank system by mounting 81mm mortars or the Javelin anti-tank guided missile. At last, we have the Badger. It is the smallest human power tank in existence. Don't be fooled by his appearance. The primary responsibility of the Badger is to scale the barrier of buildings and other fortified sites. Every light weapon, large machine gun, and small explosion cannot penetrate its armor. The designers Howe and Howe were experts in creating and producing military vehicles, but the Badger made life difficult for them. The goal was to design and operate a vehicle that was smaller than a human, yet could nonetheless accommodate one. The Badgers are like a small ram that won't give up. The SWAT teams are its primary offerings. They take advantage of it to access heavily secured areas where a regular soldier would be helpless. It's so great because of the shape of the roof. It can easily smash through any barrier, and the front wall's narrowness deflects projectiles. Smaller arms won't even be able to scrape the paint. It can travel over any surface and can travel through suburban and urban areas, even fits in only one elevator. And this was all for today. It is crazy when you think about how these mini tanks were made, how greatly they helped us, and how they will affect the military in the future. Do let us know which of these tanks you found the most fascinating. And don't forget to subscribe for more. We'll see you at the next one.